Hello and welcome back to Tungsten Tales. My name is Josh Green here to preview the Premier League over in Berlin for night 9. We are over the halfway mark now in the Premier League and we have a clear leader. A fairly predictable clear leader as well in the shape of Luke Littler, a man who has won 4 nights out of the opening 8. He has made the last 5 finals on the Premier League circuit. And now he ventures over to Berlin for the second time in his Premier League career to see if he can make it 6 on the spin and possibly a 5th weekly title. Luke Littler, as I say, very much top of the league at the moment. Not an unsurmountable lead at the top of the table, but he's got a very healthy lead of 8 points over Luke Humphries at the top. Humphries sits on 18, followed up by Michael van Gerwen, who is yet to win Premier League night, but consistency getting through the opening round in particular has meant that he has been able to put together some points and keep himself in the playoff contention. And Gerwen Price currently occupying the final spot. So if we just, before we jump into Berlin, have a quick look back at last week over in Newcastle as Luke Littler took the title. He defeated Stephen Bunting 6-0 in the opening game of the night. 110 average for Littler in that 102. Once again, Stephen Bunting over the ton mark, but unable to get his first points of the 2025 Premier League under the ledger. Littler then defeated Rob Cross in the semi-finals 6-3, with Luke Humphries coming through the second semi-final against Nathan Aspinall on a much improved performance after 3 consecutive quarter-final losses for the 2024 world champion. Humphries defeated Chris Dobie in his opening match and then 106.73 average to see off Nathan Aspinall in the semi-finals, put him through to the final with Luke Littler. Wasn't a classic final, both players averaging in the region of 93. We know they're both capable of much better than that, but it was Littler who got one over his old pal Luke Humphries in a repeat of the 2024 World Championship final, and completed the job in Newcastle and up towards the summit of the Premier League with playoffs pretty much confirmed. So jumping into Berlin, 4 more big quarterfinals to bring you from the Uber Arena, and a chance for Stephen Bunting once again to get his first Premier League points as he takes on Nathan Aspinall. Aspinall playing well at the moment, Stephen Bunting putting in the performances, but you have to wonder how much the mental block that first Premier League win is hindering him now. And I will go for Nathan Aspinall to defeat Bunting in the opening quarterfinal and the opening match of the night. Elsewhere in the top half of the draw is Luke Humphries versus Rob Cross. Cross will be looking to get revenge on Luke Humphries for last week in Newcastle, and I think it's an opportunity that Rob Cross may well take. He needs the points to keep up the chase with the top 4, with those league leaders, and with Humphries himself. Humphries very catchable in the current position and points total he is on. I think Rob Cross will defeat Luke Humphries in Berlin on Thursday night. Third quarterfinal, Chris Dobie and Luke Littler. Every single metric points the way of Luke Littler, and I'm not going to ignore the metrics on this occasion. I'm going for Luke Littler to defeat Chris Dobie in the third quarterfinal. And then moving on to the final quarterfinal of the evening, and Michael van Gerwen against Gerwen Price. A tough one to call, really. The form from Michael van Gerwen has been good the past couple of weeks. He had that final against Luke Littler. He's put in a couple of really big performances, but there's still shaky games for Van Gerwen scattered in there. And the same can be said for Gerwen Price. Couple of weeks ago, after his win in Nottingham, he looked a surefire thing for the playoffs, but after a couple of opening round defeats, his place is now very much in jeopardy, as much as Humphries and as much as Michael van Gerwen himself. A really important game for both of these players, and I think Gerwen Price has looked great on the Pro Tour this week, and I'll go for Gerwen Price to defeat Michael van Gerwen in that fourth quarterfinal. So moving on to my semi-final predictions for night 9 of the Premier League in Berlin. Nathan Aspinall against against Rob Cross. Sorry, I will go with Nathan Aspinall. I think Nathan Aspinall's got a really big win in him this week in Berlin. Those 3 points from getting to the final would do him absolute wonders for his Premier League total and possibly making it to the playoffs come the O2 in May. So I'm going for Nathan Aspinall to defeat Rob Cross in the opening semi-final, and the second semi-final being Luke Littler against Gerwen Price. We know what the record looks like in terms of Littler versus Price, heavily in favour of the Welshman. Littler has never defeated the Iceman in competitive competition, and I think that may continue. We've seen some weakness from Littler. The only weakness really he gives in the final last week against Luke Humphries, despite a 6-1 win, the energy levels were maybe a little bit down on what they have been before. In the Pro Tours this week, he failed to average over a ton in the second Pro Tour on the Tuesday, his highest average being a 97 average. And if Gerwen Price can take advantage of that, the rot may continue against the Welshman. So I will go with Gerwen Price to defeat Luke Littler in the second semi-final, which sets up a Nathan Aspinall Gerwen Price final. Maybe a slightly difficult to predict final, you may say. Not everybody's going to be predicting Nathan Aspinall and Gerwen Price to make it through against the likes of the world number 1 Luke Humphries and of course Luke Littler, missing out on his first final in 6 weeks. But I think it may well be Aspinall versus Gerwen Price this week in Berlin. If that is the case, I predict Gerwen Price to get back on top in the Premier League, add another 5 points to his total and consolidate that spot in the playoffs. The form, as I say, has been really good on the Pro Tour of late. Picked up another title fairly recently, and if he can continue that form from the floor onto the stage in Germany, then Gerwen Price is a very, very good bet to have a third title of the Premier League season under his belt for a man that doesn't particularly like the Premier League. That is pretty impressive. So don't forget to give us your predictions down in the comments below. You can follow us on TikTok, where we stream these predictions usually on a Wednesday afternoon, as I'm producing this one now. If you don't want to follow us on TikTok, we're obviously over on all the social channels over on YouTube as well. Thank you very much for tuning in once again here to Tungsten Tales. My name has been Josh Green, and we look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon.